It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. I hope this video finds you doing well. Today we are going to have some fun. A much requested topic here on the channel is what is the best miner poison deck? What are good miner poison decks to play in the current meta? Today we're going to answer that question. We're going to highlight two pros, a OneHive Hunter and Surgical Goblin. Some good matches for you guys with two different decks that cost the same amount of elixir. So just two kind of versions of a fast miner 2.9 cycle deck. So let's take a look at both of the decks here. I also wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for giving me the feedback on the deck reviews at the beginning of the video. Almost 80% of you guys on the poll that I posted yesterday, 20,000 of you voted. Thank you so much. Wanted to see the deck review first. So I figured the 20% of you who don't want to see that, you can just fast forward like 2 minutes and you'll be at the live action, okay? And sorry for that kind of awkward misspell. It was first, not fist, Ash. Anyway, so these are the two decks, guys. This is the first one here, and both of these decks rely on the synergy between these four cards at the top row, guys. It's Valkyrie, it's Tesla, Miner, and Poison. Valkyrie and Tesla, guys, are, in my opinion, are probably the two most OP cards in the game right now, especially Valkyrie. I think even more than Witch right now, because Witch, you know, at least there's lightning right now going around or creeping back into the meta. There's also Bowler creeping back into the meta, and of course there's Valkyrie to combat the Witch as well. Valkyrie has really kind of nudged her way into every archetype in the game, whether it be Miner, Poison, Cycle, Three Musketeers, a beatdown deck, a bait deck, a siege deck. She's everywhere right now. I think Valkyrie is truly the most powerful card in the game. Of course, you can make an argument about a bunch of different cards, but I think that Valkyrie is way stronger than the Witch, and I probably would advocate nerfing her a little bit before the Witch, just personally if I had to choose. Anyway, so these are the four cards. These four cards are going to be the same. This is Surgical's deck, guys. The Valkyrie, the Tesla, another really strong card, the strongest defense in the game in my opinion right now, and Miner, Poison, right? But the difference between these decks, as you can see, is just two cards. It's the Bats and the Goblin Gang in OneHive Hunter's version, and in Surgical's version, we have the Ewiz and the Skeleton. So it comes out to 2.9 either way. Surgical's is a little bit stronger on defense. OneHive Hunter's is a little bit stronger on offense. So whatever kind of suits your play style or whatever deck looks more interesting to you, feel free to give it a go. We're going to talk about both throughout this video. And I want to go ahead and start out with a live ladder match. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to use OneHive Hunter's deck because for whatever reason, I'm just not that good with Ewiz. You know, it's like, I'm not awful, but it's just not my favorite card. Sometimes I end up just subbing in Musketeer, you know, even though Ewiz definitely has his uses against some matchups that are way better than, okay, look at this guy. He just zapped. Why did he zap, guys? I'm just going to drop my gang there. That was a really aggressive opening play, and I might get a little bit of chip damage here because he used his zap. He has Zap, Log, Mini P.E.K.K.A. What could this guy be playing? Maybe a Hog Cycle deck or something? But look at all this damage. Why did he use his zap? Obviously, it was some sort of a prediction on Thomas's part, but it didn't really work out there. I'm just going to cycle a Valkyrie in the back here, guys. I don't know what this guy's going to do that he started out that way. It was pretty crazy. So Poison plus Log does kill the Witch, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I am going to go ahead and take care of all this. I should kill everything there. I'm going to go ahead and Tesla right in the center here. That ought to clean up, actually. Oh, not the minions. But it will take on this giant without me. And this is the power of the Tesla. I don't think I even have to play my gang here, guys. Just the Tesla in the two towers is going to handle that for me, you know? So, looking pretty good. Let's give him a little bit of a... This is a perfect time for I'm eating my chicken emote. Oh, let's just split a gang in the back here, guys. So with for the mini P.E.K.K.A, I have the Valkyrie. She does really well. I'm gonna go ahead and he'll zap this. That's fine. We have to be careful though because I don't want to play my Ice Spirit here because he does have the minion horde in hand as well. So, you know, his deck is essentially like a ton of bait. I'm gonna go ahead and ooh, I wasted my log there, unfortunately. I probably should have just saved it, but I will take down this Witch here. You know what? I'm not going to use my poison. I want to see if he's going to use his Horde, and he does. I'd rather use the poison on the Horde in this circumstance because I can use the Valkyrie back here on the Witch. So look at that. It actually ended up working out for me here. The Giant does get one swing. I'm just going to play a Goblin Gang next to this, and I'm going to go ahead and send in that Miner. He does kill all of my Goblins, unfortunately, but now we have that tower within poison range. Actually, scratch that. We have it within log range. So we'll have him use a zap up here. We'll see if he does. Okay, I played a Valkyrie there just in case. There's only 23 seconds left or so, so better be safe than sorry. What is it I always say here to you guys? We're not super high on ladder, guys. We're at like 4,900 right now, which isn't super high. So I apologize. I kind of tilted, to be honest with you guys, last night. So, you know, this victory, nothing to brag about, but definitely is showing the power of the deck, how we basically just took it easy the whole match there, and it ended up working out for us. So let's go ahead and play a Surgical Goblin replay, and then we'll get to a couple from Hunter. So here we go. Let's go to Surge. It's way up here, guys, but it's versus Little Chen, which is really, really cool. So let's go ahead and watch this, guys. Now, little sneak peek to the next Pro v Pro. I think it's going to be Little Chen versus Surgical Goblin. Now, they did a best of 3. I won't tell you who won, but they both shared a win versus each other in my chat right here. But I want to have them on best of 5 with all the pressure on the next episode of Pro v Pro. And guys, I know you've been giving me a bunch of requests for Pro v Pro. I read all of those comments, but keep in mind, I ask a lot of people, and a lot of people just don't want to face off against Surgical, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus by saying, oh, this guy, yeah, he's scared. You know, I don't want to do that. So, you know, I'm doing my best with the Pro v Pro series, and it will hopefully be recorded later this week and hopefully shared this weekend or maybe early next week. Either way, guys, let's see how Surgical faces Little Chen here. And you can see already off the bat, he's getting value out of that E-Wiz. Again, if you guys like a little bit more defensively oriented decks, try the E-Wiz version, especially if your E-Wiz is up to level if you're trying this deck in ladder. If you don't, go ahead with the cycle version or the bats and the Goblin Gang. It's a little bit more baity that way, but I kind of prefer that version. But who am I to argue or go against the great Surgical Goblin, right? So it's really whatever you guys prefer. With this deck, what you want to do is don't be afraid to play strong defense and then chip away with a Miner. You're not always going to be comboing bats or a Goblin Gang with Miner because you don't have it in this deck, right? Instead, you have kind of a stronger 1-2 punch defensively with the E-Wiz and the Valkyrie. You know what I'm saying? So in the Tesla, I guess 1-2-3 punch. Just a lot of defensive firepower considering it's only a 2.9 cycle deck that Surgical's playing here. And here it comes. It's going to be really his first kind of counterattack, but he decides to go opposite lane on the tower that he was already focusing on with that Miner. And even despite that Mega Minion there, he ends up getting a decent amount of chip damage on that right tower. So really, really good job by Surgical, getting in the narrow lead here on Little Chen with that Miner chip damage in the right lane. And another thing that Surgical does quite often, actually, I'll link you a video of him playing this deck on his channel. I think he uploaded it last week. And I'll share that video in case you guys haven't checked it out. And you can see him doing some live matches with the deck as well, if you want kind of a better feel for what he does. But one thing, I watched that whole video before I record this one, just to kind of pass on some of his tips to you guys right now. And one thing he's not afraid to do at all is cycle logs a lot, you know? He wants to make sure he has those strong options in hand defensively. So in order to do so, he'll cycle logs for chip damage, especially if he doesn't need them. It's not a bait matchup, it's not a Goblin Barrel. So now he has all the answers he always needs here, and he's going to think, even despite the cost of this deck, he's going to be thinking defensively first. And again, relying more on that Miner chip damage or Miner Ice Spirit combination rather than just getting these big lucrative counter pushes with the Valkyrie and the E-Wiz. That's not how he gets most of his damage on offense. So again, it's a solo Miner here in the right lane. Little Chen does a very good job catching it with the mini P.E.K.K.A, but Surgical is still in the very slight damage lead here as these players go into double elixir time. What a great match between two great players here. A good preemptive Tesla there by Surgical Goblin, and Little Chen sends in the Miner. Obviously, Little Chen playing a very strong version of Giant or Goizen Beatdown with mini P.E.K.K.A and Wizard. So here it goes, getting a little bit more chip damage is Little Chen with that poison and that Miner onto Surgical's left tower, taking it down to 958 damage. Things are looking pretty good here though for Surgical as he connects again with a few swings and a log cycle in the right lane. Again, the preemptive Tesla, and look at this in the left lane, guys. All of a sudden the E-Wiz connects. Oh, Little Chen a little bit late there, unfortunately, on that Wizard, allowing allowing Surgical Goblin a ton of damage on the opposite tower that he was going for. And hey, I said you're going to get most of your damage with the miner here, but that'll happen sometimes. If you're focusing on both lanes like that, one poison's going to go ahead and finish it off for Surgical Goblin, but that'll happen. You guys will pull off the victory there. One thing I will tell you about both of these decks, guys, is they're fun to play. Cycle decks, in my opinion, just tend to be more exciting in general than a big, heavy 5.0, 4.5 Golem beatdown deck, because there's just more action. There's more placements, there's more kiting, there's more, and all that stuff is a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and watch. Oh, OneHive Hunter says amazing game. We're not going to show that one. No, we will. We'll start with the 12 win here, which he says is an amazing game. So let's see. We'll be the judge of that, Hunter. By the way, huge shout out to OneHive Hunter. He's been a long-time player since beta, and just a really solid player. You haven't seen much of him or any of him in competitive tournaments because he's underage. He's not of age to live in a team house and CRL and stuff like that, along with his brother, Trainer Guard. But they're both incredible players. They really are, you know? Just because they're young and they haven't proven themselves in live events yet doesn't mean that they won't in the future. And I would put my money on both him and his brother. They're from Sweden. Trainer Guard and OneHive Hunter. I don't know what they're drinking in the water over there in Sweden, but either way, it must be translating to good Clash Royale players. So here we go, guys. It's OneHive Hunter. I mean, what were his parents? Were his parents like... OneHive Hunter, they gave birth to two children who are both incredibly good at a very young age in Clash Royale. Were they like pro Pac-Man players or something? I don't know. I wish I had those parents, at least for the genes of being a good Clash Royale player, because let's be honest, I could use them. So here we go, guys. It's actually going against X Specials over here, and one thing to note about this deck that he's playing against, OneHive Hunter's playing against here, is it is good. Newsflash, if you haven't seen this version of Splash Yard, first of all, stay tuned because I'll have Big Spin on the channel coming up maybe this weekend highlighting this deck. There's no doubt about it. Graveyard is meta again, and this is probably the strongest. Well, it's definitely the strongest version. A lot of people say it's the strongest deck in the entire game, all things being equal right now. So here we go. Very good defense there by a OneHive Hunter using the miner defensively, and that's something that you might have to do with this deck because you only really have the Valkyrie as that big solid body to distract and defend troops. You have the Tesla as well as a building, but the Valkyrie you're going to be leaning on heavily. So if it's a deck like this that has a lot of strong, kind of hardier ground units, you might have to end up using your miner on some situations, like blocking that Inferno Dragon that we saw in the previous sequence there by OneHive Hunter. So here we go again. It's going to be an Ice Whiz and a Bowler. Hunter's going to need to get a little bit more chip damage there, so he Poison and Logs. It's going to do a lot of damage to the tower there as well. Excuse me, taking it down to 1407. Now look at this. He knows Bowler is out of rotation here, so he hits opposite lane. It's a smart move to do here, actually, because, you know, his Specials, or his opponent, however you say his name, K Specials, is going to have to devote Elixir to defending in the opposite lane, and you can see because of that, he was never able to get that Graveyard off. So that's kind of a strategy you guys can use. Again, Bowler's out of cycle. Okay, let's hit opposite lane 7 Elixir worth, you know, the Valkyrie and the Goblin gang, and he has to use quite a bit of defense to stop that push, and now this time he does go ahead and execute a Graveyard push, but OneHive Hunter, smart, he knew he'd have Poison in cycle. So he's always thinking here, OneHive Hunter, he's thinking, okay, so what is my best counter to their win condition? If it's a Hog deck, it will be your Tesla. If it's a Graveyard deck, it will be your Poison. If it's any beatdown deck, it will be your Poison. And then as you saw me do against a Giant deck, using your Valkyrie on defense. And if you can pull off positive Elixir trades, for example, +1 via the Poison countering the Graveyard, it's going to allow you to be a little bit more aggressive in that opposite lane. Like, how do you figure, do I always drop my Valkyrie Goblin Gang? Do I drop my Valkyrie Ice Spirit? Well, you can kind of gauge that on what deck you're playing against, how much Elixir you think you'll need on defense, and then you can say, okay, I think I can handle 7 Elixir because I know he's going to have to defend with at least 3 or 4 or 5, and that will take away from his Graveyard push. He's not going to be able to Graveyard Poison, which is a big issue, obviously, with this deck. So here we go, guys. It's going to be a Valkyrie just doing work again defensively. You know, at the risk of repeating myself for the 100th time here, especially recently with all the Graveyard going around the meta, in case you're not a regular viewer, it bears repeating again. If you're going against a Graveyard deck, you want to make sure you focus on the troops coming down your lane before the Graveyard spawn, before the skeletons. So it would be a big mistake, for example, to, you know, drop that Bats and the Valkyrie at the Graveyard and not on the bowler there. A lot of people I see still making this mistake in replays is, you know, just like we saw right there, is that bowler came down the lane, and a lot of people would have been like, okay, graveyard's coming, I'm going to save my Valkyrie for the graveyard. No, 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 no. You want to make sure you kill that bowler. Free up your princess tower to target the skeletons first. You should concentrate on the troops coming down that are distracting your princess tower. So here we're just stacking up Teslas, which is actually awesome here. And we send in the miner as well, despite the NATO pulling it to the king tower. But we know Miner Poison is going to take this tower really low to 107. So we send in that miner. We get 2 hits. Oh, 1 hit, but all it's going to take is a log, which is 1 card away. So Hunter actually picks up. It was a pretty amazing match. He did a very, very good job of hitting opposite lane, taking away from the graveyard pushes, and just all in all, a really, really well-played match there by Hunter. Let's watch one more by Hunter here, guys. Let's see, what is he? Oh, Expo. So Expo isn't necessarily an incredibly difficult matchup for this deck. It's probably an even matchup. However, I suck at going against Expo when I'm playing a miner deck. It's just like, I know that I should put my miner, I should miner poison the Expo in the tower. I know that. But it feels like I'm always kind of scrambling to keep up with the Expo, and if they Expo Tesla and support troop and kill my miner fast, I feel like sometimes I don't stand a chance. So let's watch and see how Hunter handles this matchup, and maybe yours truly can learn a thing or two from him. So here it goes, guys. It's going to be the first Expo. We're going to start out by playing the Valkyrie in the back here, and then answering with a Tesla. Now, I think the OneHive Hunter would agree that was a bad Tesla in retrospect there, because it ended up getting targeted first by the other Tesla, and when you have your Tesla get targeted by the other Tesla that's already on the board, doesn't have that loading time, it's going to be a quick work for the opponent to take out your Tesla. And you can see it ends up resulting in over 1,000 damage off of his left tower. So definitely not the start that OneHive Hunter was looking for here. But don't worry, he's going to come back, especially now that he knows exactly what deck. It's 2.9 Expo cycle the opponent is playing. And by the way, guys, it's been a long time since I've shared a Miner Poison deck. It's also been a while since I've shared a good Expo deck. Not too long, not as long as Miner Poison, but I'll make sure I bring you guys, another Expo deck coming really soon. I would expect one either this weekend or early next week, and it might even be older replays that I've kind of picked out of players beating really difficult matchups with Expo. Let me know how that sounds to you guys, or would you rather see just like live matches, or versus the hardest matchups like Giant and Golem and Lava Loon and stuff like that, just how to handle those kind of beatdown decks. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure I cater the episode in whatever direction that you guys want it to go. So again, here, guys, we're going to set up with a preemptive Tesla. And that's actually really annoying for the opponent, and it causes him to have to go opposite lanes, because like we talked about with OneHive Hunter at the beginning there, he can't play either his Expo or his Tesla into our defensive Tesla. So sometimes when you have the elixir advantage, sometimes just going with the Tesla there when you have no other obvious play isn't a bad move at all, and it caused, again here, the opponent to have to switch lanes, and now they're splitting their damage, which is a great situation here for Hunter. It's something that I normally don't do, that I'm probably going to start doing, that preemptive Tesla on defense once one of your towers against an Expo cycle is pretty low. Now, this is the first time that Hunter is really low on elixir here, but he still comes away okay. He drops that poison. He hasn't sent in the miner just yet. He waits till just before the Valkyrie dies. Then he sends in the miner to make sure he takes full advantage of both the Valkyrie health to distract and then the miner health to get a little bit of tip damage and also to distract that Expo. And at this point, look, it's kind of like rinse and repeat here, guys. He's gonna wait. The Valkyrie's almost dead. Boom. She dies. Boom. He's back up again with the miner, and the miner again sends in that log, just trying to make sure he's always sending in the poison, he's always sending in the miner, he always has the Valkyrie ready. This time the Valkyrie's 1 card out of cycle, so he has to cycle to it with the Ice Spirit. Not that big of a deal, not the end of the world, but sometimes he combos the log in it too. So here it goes again. You guys can see that he is absolutely just in a pattern at this point. Hunter, he's identified the deck the opponent is playing, he's found his weakness, he's found a cycle where he's always getting more damage than the opponent is here, and it's actually working out really well for him. So this time he has the Expo in the right lane set up, but OneHive Hunter, all he has to do is Miner Poison or Poison Log and takes down that left tower. Really beautifully well done after that early deficit by OneHive Hunter. So thanks again to Hunter for helping me out on this video, as well as Surgical Goblin. I'll link that other video by Surgical if you guys want to go ahead and take the time to watch it now. Tell him Ash sent you. I don't know if he reads his comments, but who knows, right? And guys, thanks so much for watching till the very end of the video. I always appreciate it, guys. I do host daily tournaments, I should tell you. Excuse me, not daily, but 3 tournaments a week, hopefully soon 5 10K tournaments with bounty money, where basically I give you guys a mission. For example, finish top 3 with Bowler. You don't have to play that way if you don't want to, but if you do, you get 50 bucks PayPal, and you get all the cards, of course, either way. So it's a lot of fun. If you guys want to get notified every time that I host tournaments, if that sounds like a thing that you're interested in, join my Discord server. We have almost 7,000 people there, a great little community if you're looking for kind of like-minded, positive, and you know, just thoughtful, constructive individuals. Go ahead and join. I'll make that the pinned comment in this video. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below, along with the player profiles here, thanks to statsroyale.com. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.